2024, the United States drank a jaw-dropping 146 billion cups of coffee, with a staggering daily amount of 400 million cups. That's roughly a fourth the size of Lake Tahoe every year in coffee. For many of us, coffee is an essential and integral part of our morning or daily ritual. We love our coffee and we're going to spend money on it. The problem is that these types of expenditures can add up over time, making a huge dent in our finances and budget if we're not careful. And we're not just talking about the cost of coffee itself, we're talking about the ripple effects it can have on our spending habits. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, oh, the one or two cups here and there aren't going to make a huge difference. But the reality is that these small expenditures do add up over the longer picture. And in 2025, while making my own budget and as a self-proclaimed coffee aficionado / fiend, I wanted to ask if coffee was having that destructive effect in my own finances. And I think the result of how much I spent in 2024 is really going to shock you and maybe even jolt you into assessing your own finances. So in this video, let's dive deep into coffee, how much I spent, and whether or not it's destroying your finances. So for perspective, the average cup of coffee costs $3.08, with specialty lattes like a pumpkin spice latte roughly around $5.45. So keep this in mind. 3 in 4 Americans drink coffee every single day, and 36% of Americans drink 3 to 5 cups a day, like yours truly here. And 51% of people buy coffee at a coffee shop. So if you were to just crunch the numbers on face value, do some simple math. Let me see, $3.08 times 365, and then $5.45 times 365. That would be roughly around $1,000 to $2,000 spent on coffee yearly. And that is an insane amount of money to spend on coffee every year. And you might be asking, is that even really possible? Well, you can breathe a sigh of relief because according to research, it would seem that approximately around most Americans, 54%, only buy around $20 or less on coffee at coffee shops each month. And if on face value, if you were to do the math again, that would be around $240 annually. So, I mean, $240 is not nothing, but it's definitely not $1,000 or $2,000 a year. But wait, there's more. Remember when I was talking earlier in the video about the hidden ripple effects that coffee can have on our spending habits? Well, while making this video, I found an interesting article by Sage Journals highlighting a study where right before online shopping or shopping at a physical retail space, there were 2 groups of shoppers, one non-caffeinated and one caffeinated. And just basically through a simple summarization of the study, the group of shoppers that drank caffeine right before online shopping or going into physical retail space shopping like a Target or a mall, the ones who drank coffee spent a significant more amount on high hedonic purchases, which is basically the non-essential items they need, compared to the other group of non-caffeinated shoppers. So basically, in the simple summary of this article, it would seem to suggest that coffee does have a role in whether in how much you spend. So it's not just the cup of coffee, it's literally what comes afterwards. And think about it too. How many times have you been to a Target and you actually see a Starbucks in the actual Target? I mean, it's, when I put it together, it does seem to have some kind of merit to that. So where do I fall in the spectrum of spending coffee? So looking at my bank statements, going through line by line from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024, the grand total amount of money I spent on coffee was, drumroll please, $982.93. So I am a verified coffee fiend, and I know that's not great at all, but what can you say? I like my coffee fix. But anyways, all joking aside, I also saw interesting articles saying that nearly half of Americans don't even have $1,000 to spend on an emergency fund to cover the most basic expenses, which is basically car repair, medical bills, home repairs, and a job loss. Luckily for me, I do have an emergency fund, but imagine if I can just, what I can do, if I just cut back on the spending and spent $1,000 on literally anything else. And it made me think, how many Americans are spending that much money on coffee or things they don't need and can just, move that money to something more important, like the emergency fund. Here's another article saying that the one specific thing that Americans regret financially in 2024 is not having that emergency fund. So that was very eye-opening. So in conclusion, what did we learn? Well, first and foremost, we learned that I'm a coffee fiend, and I really do need to clean up my act for 2025. Having a near $1,000 habit of purchasing coffee is not a good look, and it's really inexcusable. Before I didn't even think about it because I had a high-paying job as a software engineer, and I did fall into the trap of just saying to myself, well, it's only a cup of coffee, it's only $3, how bad could it be? And apparently it can be pretty bad if you're not aware of and tracking down how much your expenses are going to small little things like coffee. Second, we learned that Americans don't have an emergency fund of $1,000 to cover basic expenses. So if you're one of those people that are lacking, basic money to cover some of those expenses, I would say the key takeaway is maybe, look at your finances. It might be painful, but look into some of the things that you're spending and ask yourself, can I really go without? Can I really go without, XYZ, this cup of coffee, and just allocate towards, having that emergency fund so I can be more secure? Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what we want. We want to be secure and financially free. So with that study in mind and putting my finances in display for all to see, hopefully I left you with some food for thought in this video. And if you're interested on, more videos like this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.